Okay. Right, I believe we are live today. It's hello to everybody. I'm Farzana from SF Digital, and I'm so glad you can join me again today, where I'm going to be talking about the 90-day game plan. So it's not by accident that we are at the end of Q1, quarter one, the first 90 days of the year thereabouts. This is a deliberate choice to have this as my topic today, because I'm hoping that you'll get to see the bigger picture of why this is so important to have a 90-day plan. So before I get into my topic, for those of you that may not have joined us before, I'm Farzana from SF Digital, and every week I go live on a Friday discussing topics that will help you hopefully in your business, and maybe even give you some thoughts just generally about how you could be progressing in your life and your business as well. The rest of the week we also have topics that are presented by Uzair, also of SF Digital, and he normally tends to cover anything to do with Google Ads and video marketing. So once again, thank you for joining me today, and I'm getting into my topic now, which is, do you have a 90-day plan? So for us as a business, this is really, really important that we as SF Digital review our 90-day plan. As I've just said, we are coming to the end of the first 90 days or thereabouts next week of this year. And it's really interesting to see how far we have come in these last 90 days since the beginning of the year. And indeed, as I'll show you in a moment, why it's so important to remember to review also the previous 90 days and, of course, set up your next 90 days. And for some people, it's almost an accident how they get to the end of the year, and it's a little bit of a shock when they get to the end of the year and see how far they've come. It's almost like I say, an accidental journey of where they have evolved through that year. So what's so important about a 90-day plan? Now, for many, most would probably think we're looking at the next 90 days. But like any journey, you need to know what your destination is, where you're going, and where you've actually come from. So it's really, really important that before you can go ahead and plan your next 90 days, you really need to take stock and review your previous 90 days so that you can get an understanding of what were the best outcomes, etc., from that last 90-day period and where you're heading to. And I'm going to come to that again in a little bit more detail in a moment. We also need to remember to study and look at what we're doing actually at the present. And then from there, then we can think about where we're going into the future and actually stay focused and laser sharp in what we're hoping to achieve in our next 90-day plan. And something that came to my mind as I was preparing this was that actually, in a funny way, today's tomorrow's past, and it's also yesterday's future. So it's really important to stay focused in the zone, stay in the present, but keep an eye on what's going on behind and in front of you. So let's have a little look. Before we go on to my actual past, present and future, let's have a quick recap. For those of you that have not been with us before, we're really proud to have launched our coaching program, which is Google Ads Like a Boss. It does actually cover a wide range of topics within that suite of programs, which is marketing, videos, tag managers, etc. There's a whole load of information within the coaching program. You can take a look at sfdigital.co/YouTube, and you'll be able to get lots of information about the program itself. But what I like to remind people of as part of the coaching program, rather than just the learning, which of course you are going to get some great quality learning from the program itself, from all the materials that we include. What's really, really important, and why this is proving to be so successful for the people that have already joined our program, are the coaching calls, because you're getting an opportunity to bring any question, whether it's regarding the program, or bear with me one moment, sorry about that, I've got it back, whether it's about the topics within the learnings that are in the video tutorials, or whether it's anything just generally about your business, we are there to help you. And of course, you've got the peers within your group that probably have some learnings that they can also share. So it's proving to be a really supportive environment and a safe space where you can discuss anything that's affecting your business and some of the challenges and find a solution to those problems. We are very, very solution driven at SF Digital. So moving on to the actual topic today in hand. So the past, what's really important here? So you almost have to take stock and have a little look and see in simple terms what went really well over the last 90 days, but what were some of your moments that perhaps weren't quite as good. Now, I'm resisting using the word regrets, because you could say, what are you proud of and what are your regrets? My personal opinion is that in life, if we ever do anything that we're going to regret, well, then we obviously consciously made that choice. Because in the real sense, when we make a decision, we make a choice based on the information in front of us, our experiences that have shaped us up to that point, the choices that may be in front of us. That's when we go and make a decision. So it can't really be a regret. It was an assessed, informed decision, and so we need to live with it. So that's why I'm resisting using the word regret, but it's really to take stock and have a little look and see that basically you are comfortable with what has happened. Now, within that 90-day review, when you sit down and take stock, and you may even want to literally open up your diary even and actually look at what were you actually doing, where did those last 90 days actually go, why were you so busy but you're not sure what you actually achieved. You might actually surprise yourself, because you'll find that actually these were some real big wins for me and I couldn't have foreseen those perhaps, and these are some of the things that I really need to take stock on and maybe review again and see how they're going to either drop off from your business plan or whether they're going to be modified and evolved into something that's going to actually bring you some return and hopefully some satisfaction in what you're actually doing. You'll also find that by doing the previous 90-day, the past review, you may actually notice that there might be something in there that's actually an opportunity that perhaps you hadn't actually spotted as one beforehand. And finally, just to summarize, don't forget the numbers. Now, we can go with vanity and we can look at turnover and the numbers that are coming through the books, and that's a reasonable assumption and way of looking at how your business is going. We do also need to take a sanity check and actually think about the profits and the margin within a job, and are we actually being busy fools or actually making something, a meaningful difference to the bottom line in our business, and are we actually making some profit? But it's not just about the numbers in a monetary sense. It's a great indicator, but it's not the only way of knowing how you're going to measure your successes. Again, I think successes are very, very personal. What one may consider a success, somebody may think that's not even a thing. And so it's really important to look at your key performance indicators, your KPIs, and think about what are the numbers that mean something to you. For example, when we had the portrait business, I knew I wanted to hit X number of family portrait sessions in a week, Y number of headshots in a month. And that would give me an idea, because obviously the monetary value is associated with those numbers. I had targets that I knew I needed to achieve. And by having that down as a finite number, it means that you can actually aim for something, hopefully surpass your own goals that you've set for yourself, but it gives you some accountability as to where you can go with your numbers. And this is why it's really, really important to look at your numbers. Now, some people, I often hear, I'm not very good with numbers, I don't know what I'm looking at. I would say keep it simple. If you're just starting in business and you really haven't got your head around accounts, bookkeeping, even invoicing and values, start it simple. If you have to, just keep a really simple spreadsheet so that you can see exactly how many jobs you've invoiced, what the values are. You've got a running total, you can review it week by week hopefully, and then you'll be able to see a bigger picture. And the same applies with your costs. So whether it's the suppliers or products or services that you're buying in, you need to keep an idea on what those costs are, because the two need to balance at the end of the day. In crude terms, before your books go off to be audited at the accountants, at least it will give you a handle as to what's going on with your numbers, because if you're finding you're spending far more than you're actually bringing in, you're going to hit a brick wall fairly soon. Okay, so then we come to the present. So again, we can have a look here and think of it in terms of what are the areas that you know you're absolutely confident in and secure in your knowledge within your business. And that could be a number of things. It could be, I'm confident in my team, I know exactly what they're going to deliver. I'm confident in my products, I know what I'm selling and I know what revenue that's going to bring in for me. It could be that you're confident in the future. You're about to do a product launch and you know that you've got everything lined up. You've got maybe a trade show lined up, or you've decided, obviously with current environment, you've decided to go online and set up an e-com website, for example. These could be areas that you've considered yourself to be confident in and secure in within your business at this present moment in time. But the flip side, we must always look at the balance, and life is all about balance. We've also got to realistically and pragmatically look at what are we lacking in. What are the areas that we may be slightly weaker on and need to pay some attention to? So for example, it might be that a particular member of staff really does need some help with some additional training, so you need to find the right training models for them. It might be that you need to find another supplier for a particular product because there's been an interruption in the supply chain and you need to have a plan B in case things fall over. So you might have some areas of risk within your business that you really need to make sure you've covered off and secured. So these two key areas, looking at what you're secure in and looking at what could be lacking, really, really important to take a snapshot view at this moment in time as to what's going on within your business. It's also really important when you are working day to day in the present, very much in the zone, as to how much time you're spending in your business and how much time you're devoting to actually working on your business. And this is really, really important because it's very easy to find yourself that each day is very busy. Most of us business owners, entrepreneurs, we are always busy. There is never a dull moment. There is no part-time hours, there are no sick days, we just keep going. And it's really, really important to build in to your diary time that you set aside for doing certain tasks, because without that, your business will never grow. If you never stop to actually assess what's going on, you'll never be able to get that growth that you're hopefully looking for within your business. And those items that you need to do should pretty much be non-negotiable in your diary. So I had a conversation with a lady yesterday and she said, I really must get on top of my accounts and I'm just rubbish at doing that. I never get round to it and I'm really, really behind. I'm always behind on the accounts. I said, it's really important that without the accounts, you don't actually have a business. What happens if somebody buys in your services and they decide that they're going to stop using you? You've now got a problem because they may move away completely. You've not been billing them as you should have been on a monthly retainer. So now there may be an accumulated fairly large sum of money that's now outstanding to you. And if they disappear, how are you ever going to get that money back? And she said, Farzana, you're absolutely right. And actually this has actually happened more than once. And it's something that I really should get on top of, and I do always say, should puts a burden on all of us. We need to reframe the language we use within ourselves and say, I could choose to do this right now, and how will that look for my business if I choose to do that? And hopefully that comes from a much more positive place rather than a place of resistance because you're being burdened by something. And again, the present, let's not forget the numbers. Because by reviewing your numbers as you are going on, and whether that is, again, like I say, the monetary value within your business, but also the actual key performance indicators that you have set up, the targets that you have set for your business, it's really, really important to review them. Certain numbers I review pretty much daily, certainly weekly, and of course I have the viewpoint then that they're rolling, and if I want to at any moment in time I can look at numbers on a monthly basis. Now we use Xero for all our day-to-day bookkeeping and accounts, etc. Everything has been set up, using codes, and that means that we can look at and analyze exactly where our numbers, monetary numbers, are coming from. This is really important, especially for smaller businesses where time is so precious and there are a certain number of tasks that you can get done. by analysing your product codes or service codes, you can look at, well, actually, these 80% of these jobs take up the most of my time, but these 20% jobs are actually the ones that bring me the best revenue and the best profits ultimately. By looking at those numbers, you'll be able to tip the balance and start to yourself lose the lower end jobs that are actually more aggravation than they're worth within your business. Because at the end of the day, if they're not stacking up for you, you really need to consider how you lose jobs. It's probably another whole topic as to how you actually sack a client, if that's the right terminology. But there are ways of, in a very nice way, just declining, thanking people for the opportunity, but just declining the opportunity of working with them because you're not the best fit for this moment in time. And another shortcut way of doing this, if you really don't want to take on certain jobs, is you outprice it. Because rather than saying no, which has the danger of offending people, by putting a certain price to something, it means that if they should still decide to go ahead with you, you put a price on it that you're happy to work out, and then you can still deliver. It's when you undercharge that you do the job begrudgingly, and that's not a good fit for your client. It doesn't. Neither's a winner. You don't feel that you've won the business, and nor does your client get the best out of you. So there are a couple of simple ways where you can handle that. And then we come to the future. This becomes the fun part. So as we take stock within our businesses, we can take a quick look and say, right, what are we really excited about within our business? What if we could have anything in the next 90 days? How would we go about choosing those things that would be really, really amazing if we managed to get those done in our business? There might also be a few things that are worrying us within our business. So for example, we could be excited about launching something new within the business in the next 90 days, and that's huge excitement. But there might be the flip side of that. The worry is we might be worrying about, are we good enough? Have we got enough capability? Do we have the assets to be able to deliver the next program? There could be a number of practical things. Time, for example. Can we actually deliver an additional item, for example, on our program, on our coaching program? So by assessing, by assessing where we're up to, it means that we can look to the future and see what we can add to our list for the future. Now, the reason we can look at the past and the present as well as we sit down to do our next 90-day game plan is that, as I touched on before, the past, reviewing the past might show you an opportunity that you'd completely overlooked. So that can automatically go on your possibles list for the future for your next 90-day plan. By looking at the present, you might be facing some challenges which you hadn't really thought about. But by thinking about those, again, you might be able to think, well, actually, that's something we don't want to take forward in the future. We need to probably review that. And beyond that, this time on this slide, I have said, don't just focus on the numbers, because we don't wake up in the morning thinking, right, rub our hands together and say, where do I go now as a business owner and find some money? I hope we don't anyway. I certainly don't. We wake up thinking, what can I do? What's the value I can add to something that I deliver that brings something better to the recipient, to my client or customer, and what brings them some transformation, because it's through their transformation that they're going to find the value in what we have done for them. And so there is somewhere in all of this, not just the money, the transaction, the energy exchange we get for doing this meaningful task for somebody. Yes, we get rewarded in terms of money normally, but there's actually, I believe, a strong feeling inside. And when you know that that feeling is giving you that buzz, that hunger, fire in your belly to go out and deliver, that's when you actually can start to get excited about the future. And when you wake up in the morning, instead of feeling a dread that you've got another busy day ahead of you, there should be excitement that there is another day ahead where I can do these meaningful things that's really bringing transformation to somebody else. In our example at the moment, that is definitely the coaching program. We know what that is doing for people. And so that creates its own buzz and its own drive. And so the numbers are not just about the money or how many people join the program. It's also about that feeling of achievement and we get through the other person's achievement. So how do we actually go about making a 90-day game plan? So let's say you've sat down, and I would say sitting down and reviewing your past, your present and your future in terms of, what's gone well, what's perhaps inverted commas a regret, what are your things that you're confident in, but what are the things you're lacking in, and what are the things that you're excited about, and what are the things that are worrying you. They're almost like opposites, that you need to think about so that you can get the flip side and get the balance of each of those stages. The way I tend to do this is that aim to have 3 to 5 actions in the next 90 days that are going to help you reach your next 90-day vision. And that's quite a tough thing to do, because if you're anything like me, you'll have 101 ideas and buzzes and things you could be doing, lots of great ideas. Now, personally, for me, a tip that I can give you is, rather than trying to write this all down in just a spreadsheet, which is very linear and very sometimes fixed and hard to amend. Spreadsheets are great, but you can't necessarily brainstorm freely. Blank pieces of paper are great, but you can't then necessarily make your changes and move things around very easily. So I would suggest that you get hold of a pack of sticky notes, post-it notes, and literally put down your idea, one idea on one piece of paper, and just keep stacking them up. Now you might end up with 15, 20, it doesn't matter. And then sit through and go through grouping them together, because you might find that actually idea number 1 and idea number 5 are related. And what the sticky notes will allow you to do is then you can start collecting them together and grouping them up. And then you'll be able to give that particular bundle of notes an umbrella title, and from there will emerge, yes, I've got it. These are my 3 to 5 big actions that I'm going to take to make sure that I can stay on track and I have a plan for the next 90 days. The next thing you can do is, once you've grouped them up, I would suggest you take a photo of those notes, because let's face it, nobody wants to hang around with sticky notes that, let's face it, lose their stickiness and end up floating around under the desk. Group them up, make up a layout, roughly A4, and literally take a picture of that. Put your note on the top as to which idea that is, and put it into your plan, and you then can bin your notes, and you've got your screenshot, your quick snapshot of what you are hoping to do within that particular action point. It also means you can attach that to your folder and keep that for accountability, because when you then come to review that in the next 90 days, you'll be able to look at some of the points that you had put in there and have you actually managed to achieve those. And finally, you must plan your tasks and your accounts, because those are the two things that are going to make your, a dream into reality. These are the things that actually need to take place. So for us, as I often say, planning the tasks is very easy. We tend to use Asana, where we not only have the tasks in some kind of order and groupings and sections of things that need to happen, other team members that may need to deliver some parts of a particular action that we want to take, but it also means that we can 3D it in effect, because we can add dates, timelines, dependabilities, deadlines, etc., all in the same place. And it's highly visual. We don't have to share a document which can't be amended. It means we can do what we need to within the actual delivery of a particular vision or action that we're thinking of. And from an accounts point of view, I would strongly suggest that whether you're using spreadsheets or some kind of bookkeeping program, make sure that anything new that you are doing is trackable, because if you can track it and you can look at it, then you can analyze it and you can change it if you need to. If you don't track, you can't expect to know how you're going to actually change. And finally, have fun, because it's a lonely place being a business owner. It's tough. It's not for the faint-hearted. And we all started our businesses because we want to make a difference. We could see an opportunity. we may have done it for our family. There could be any number of reasons that got you to this place where you are running your business. You could be a business owner for many years where you have, got huge teams in front of you and they're depending on you now. But it's really important to keep a sense of fun and keep those challenges something that you feel connected to and inspire you. And for me, that's a really big part of enjoying what I do, whether it is delivering certain items on the done for you side of our business, or whether we are now evolving into the coaching side and helping other business owners. Equally, they bring great joy to me personally, and I know that Uzair feels the same. We are really passionate about what we are doing and how we are helping other business owners. So have fun. And just by accident, some slides have popped up. Let me just get to the next one. Many of you know, I like to always do motivation tips. My final little one is do less to get more. Because I find that actually when you are focused on a smaller number of tasks, you tend to do them better because you are staying in the zone and you are working on that area and you become almost an expert on that particular task rather than being a jack of all trades and spread yourself too thinly. Again, as I touched on earlier, especially smaller business owners, there's only one of us, there's only so much we can do, and if you keep chopping and changing and pulling yourself around in lots of different areas of your business, chances are you won't do any of them particularly well. It's tempting as a business owner to say, I can do this, and somebody asks you, can you do this? And I bet 9 times out of 10 you'll say yes, even though it's not something you really want to do or you're geared up to do. You're so scared to lose that opportunity, you will say yes. It's better to stop, breathe, take a deep breath and actually weigh it up. Is this actually the right thing to do for your business? And I certainly live by this personal motto that do less and you actually do achieve far, far more. So I'm going to have a quick look and just have a quick check to see if there are any comments from anybody. Hello everybody that has joined me today. I've got a question from Sandy Entertainments. How should we plan if we are new to market? Should we work harder than competitors? Okay, an interesting one. We can work hard for sure. I'm a great believer, work smarter, not harder. I do work very hard, as does Uzair. We are both very, very driven individuals. We work some very long hours and we certainly probably do more in a day than some people maybe manage in a week. It's just the way we are wired. But just working harder actually is not necessarily your road to success. As I just said, sometimes you just need to stop, see the wood for the trees. It's a case of getting that bird's eye view on your business, and this is why the planning is so important, because this is the part where you're working on your business. Otherwise, all you find yourself doing is working in your business, what is almost known as technician level. You're just one of the doers, like Groundhog Day, every day doing the same thing, seeing the same clients, and some clients finish and new ones come along, do the same thing again. Instead, you want to be thinking, this is why it's really important to do the planning, looking at your numbers and looking at which are the tasks that are meaningful within the business and where are these helping us to stabilize, because sometimes it's not always about growth, it's about stabilizing where you are and creating a solid foundation and platform for the work that you are doing. And then should you wish to, this is the fun part of your business, should you wish to grow, how are you going to thrive? How are you going to move that plan forward to actually make things get bigger? So I hope that gave you a very small snapshot. Sandy Entertainments again has just said 9 to 5 or 9 to 9. Well, I hope you mean from 9 a.m. back right through to the next 9 a.m. 24 hours and not just 12 hours, Sandy. But good luck to you in whatever you are doing. And again, just another excuse me, a quick one. Thank you for your game plan. Is this for personal or professional? Both. There is only one of us, so actually whatever we are doing in our professional life is probably a reflection of how we are as a personality in our personal life. And I have talked about your branding before now. You should be living and breathing your business and your life, because it's the same thing. You don't just park up one hat and say, well, I'm going to stop being professional and approachable because that's my day job, that's my work. In my personal life, I'm going to be totally miserable. I would find that very hard to believe that people can be such different personalities. You are very much within that same mindset that you are going to deliver your best, you're going to give the best. It's also about not necessarily being the best, but aspiring to always do your best. There's a difference. And I know that my conscience is clear. Whatever I do, I give my best to, the best of my ability. And hopefully that's going to be what my client is looking for. So I hope those tips have helped you today, and thank you again for joining me. It's been a pleasure to be here, and I hope this topic has hopefully inspired you on this Friday afternoon to perhaps over this weekend, like I say, coming to the end of Q1, the end of the first 90 days. It's given you some food for thought this weekend. We're not quite at the end of 90 days, so you've still got some time to think about what you're doing within your business and see if there is something that you've just been missing. So I would strongly recommend sit down, do that review, look at the past 90 days, look at this set of 90 days that have just gone through and where you are in the present, and then formulate your plan for the next 90. Best wishes to you all, and I look forward to seeing you all again next Friday. Same time, 4 p.m. Thank you very much.